Welcome y'all to DIY Food Plot Pro. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. Please help me out and smash that like and subscribe button and help me grow this channel. Today we are going to be talking about the absolute king of summer food plots. What is it? Alfalfa, okay? In my opinion, alfalfa is a very good choice for a food plot. Protein levels are through the absolute roof. It pulls deer for a long ways, and it stays green for a long time. Okay, so why wouldn't we do alfalfa? A lot of people get scared away by alfalfa because of management levels, money. There's a lot of different things that have to be right for alfalfa to be what we want it to be in our food plots. I'm going to explain all of this. We're going to go over it all. Some of the things that we're going to talk about in this video are protein levels, soil testing, fertility, what alfalfa needs and when it needs it, seeding rate, the type of soils you need, tillage requirements, toxicity, drought resistance, and all about clipping. Okay, so let's get right into it. Go over alfalfa. Alfalfa has 20 to 30% protein levels, absolutely through the roof. Deer absolutely prefer this stuff, okay? I have raised this on my own farms here in West Kentucky, and it is a very good plot. If you have never tried alfalfa, especially for you guys down south or up in the Midwest, I would highly recommend alfalfa. Basically, anywhere that you can't find a whole lot of it, it is absolute game changer, okay? So for us, there's not any alfalfa fields around here. So when we put out an alfalfa plot, we see a significant amount of deer go to that alfalfa plot and use it every single day. So I highly encourage this plot if this is something that you would like to try. So let's go ahead and get into it. It's a perennial, okay? So it is going to last 2 to 3 years. And if your management level is there, you can make it last longer than that, okay? This is 100% key for alfalfa. You have to be on time with your management. This is not a clover at all. This is not an easy food plot. I want to get that out the bag right now. This is a management level 9 out of 10 for what I'm saying. This is a difficult, time-consuming, money-consuming food plot, but it is a good food plot. It might very well be worth your time, okay? We're going to start off this the same way we start off all of them, a soil test. But in alfalfa, this is absolutely even more key than all the rest of them. You have to know what's in your soil, okay? And this is a planting crop. This is not something that we're going to go out and we're going to buy the fertilizer on a Friday. We're going to put it out Saturday. We're going to plant it on a Sunday. That's not how alfalfa works, okay? If you decide and you set your mind up to plant alfalfa, you need to be looking at, we're going to plant this fall, so this gives me this spring, early summer, to be getting everything right. You need to be changing the soil, okay? Alfalfa is a heavy user of P and K. It is a legume. So if you watch my other videos, you know a legume makes its own nitrogen, okay? So we're not going to have to put nitrogen, but it is a heavy user of P and K. So we are going to have to put plenty of potassium and phosphorus out there for alfalfa to do what we wanted to do and be highly attractive to whitetails. Fertilize. We're going to fertilize in the spring, okay? That is absolute key. I want you changing your soils 4 or 5 months before we're into planting, okay? So all this, like I said, is going to be, this is a long-term goal. It's a long-term play. This is not a short-term play. There's a lot of plots that I'm going to post that are short-term plays. This is not one of them. Okay, this plant likes old P and K. Okay, phosphorus, potassium. That's what I'm saying is don't go out there and throw this out and then try to plant the next day. You need to be putting this and changing your soils in the spring. With lime, pH is absolutely critical with alfalfa. It has to be 6.5 to 7. Do not try this on 5.3, 4.8, 5.8, whatever, okay? Get your soil right, okay? Make sure you're in that 6.5 to 7. And that also means that when you plant this stuff, you need to be checking that next winter. So you've had it for a year. You need to go out there and you need to get another soil test, and you need to figure out what your P and your K and your lime are, and you need to be adding if your levels start to drop. Okay, we have to maintain high levels of P, K, and lime on our soil to keep our pH where we want it, so that the alfalfa does what it's supposed to do. So seeding rate, 15 to 20 pounds per acre is what I like to do. I use 20 pounds broadcast is what I do. I'm going to use a herbicide tolerant variety so that I can spray glyphosate over the top and kill my weeds in it. And hopefully it's not going to be such an issue for you the first couple years, but as your stand starts to diminish, and it will over time, it's just part of alfalfa, it's going to start to diminish, and then you're going to start to get more weed growth. And that's when your glyphosate is really going to be important. Okay, so make sure you get a glyphosate tolerant variety to plant out there for your food plots. It needs well-drained soils. Do not put this in the swamp, okay? It's not going to work. It has to have well-drained soils. Even alfalfa can tolerate some of the not so great soils as long as they drain. Alfalfa's got super long roots. It's really a ground builder. It's extremely drought tolerant. So don't worry so much about what the soil is like. As long as it gets rid of water, alfalfa can likely handle it if you have those nutrient levels where you're supposed to. It is a legume, so we do have to inoculate the seed. That's extremely important in this process so that it can fix its own nitrogen, okay? So before you spread it, you're going to get a bag that is inoculant, is specifically for alfalfa, and you're going to spread that seed with it. Get your hands in there and spread all that stuff out and get it coated with that seed before you seed it, okay? Tillage requirements. I want this worked up good, and I want this sprayed through the year until you get ready to plant. This needs to be right. There is an autotoxicity in alfalfa that prevents you from going back and sowing later on. You got one chance to do this with alfalfa, and you don't want to have to wait. You don't want to screw it up this August and have to wait all the way to next August to be able to do it, okay? So do this right and get it right the first time, and then this is going to be a really good quality perennial for you to have for 3, 4, 5 years. I think mine lasted about 4 years is what mine did. So autotoxicity, we've talked about that. That is a mature alfalfa's plant. It puts out a toxin. So any new young growth alfalfa coming along, it kills them. Okay? So you can't be mixing in there and sowing a bunch of new alfalfa with your old alfalfa. It's not going to work. So like I said, let's do it right. Do it one time, get a good stand, and be done with it. Spraying for bugs and weeds. Now, bugs are a big issue here in Kentucky with our alfalfa. It's something that you need to be aware of. It's something that you need to be proactive against. You don't want to let your alfalfa get thick with bugs, and it will. At least it does in our area. I'm assuming it will in your area as well. You're going to want to spray as some sort of insecticide on there to kill those bugs, okay? This is kind of the sucky part, in my opinion, because your turkeys will love the heck out of that alfalfa when it's got all them bugs. You'll see them out there like crazy on an alfalfa plot when there's a lot of bug pressure. But they tell us that that's what causes some of the diseases, some of the sicknesses of the plant, so we're better off to keep them sprayed. Weeds are going to be an issue with alfalfa, especially as the stand diminishes the following years. You need to be on time with your Roundup. Don't cut your glyphosate. Do not cut your rates. Keep your rates where they're supposed to be. That is how you build up tolerance. That is how a weed builds up tolerance, is if you cut the rate, You need to be applying a full rate every single time. And like I said in one of my other videos, if you see something out there, a plant that is not dying after a week or 10 days after you spray glyphosate on it, you need to go out there and pull it, okay? You don't want to deal with that. Drought resistance. Alfalfa is extremely drought tolerant once it's established. Okay, that's one reason that we are planting in the fall. You can plant in the spring. I don't like to do that because what I talked about with clover, you plant in the spring, you get a hot, dry summer, and then all of a sudden you're trying to worry about irrigate. And we all like to plant food plots, but nobody wants to be out there freaking irrigating 1.5 acres of alfalfa all summer long trying to keep it alive. Okay, so let's not do that. Let's plant it in the fall so that we don't have to try to water this stuff all summer long, okay? When to clip it. Basically, what you're going to do, when I say clipping it, what is that? Clipping it is basically bush hogging it, okay? If you have a small enough plot, the whitetails might do it for you. They might keep it. You might only have to clip it once or twice a year. If you have a pretty good size plot, even with heavy graze pressure, you're likely going to have to clip this and maintain that. So by clipping it, we're going to bush hog it. We're not going to burr this stuff off at the ground, just like I talked about with the clover. We're going to clip it down. Why are we clipping it? We're clipping it so that protein levels and digestibility stays high. So when it starts getting big and tall, basically what happens is that plant becomes less digestible for those whitetails. Protein levels drop. If we keep young, tender growth on that alfalfa, protein levels stay high, digestibility stays high. So we clip it to keep it better nutritional value for our whitetails. There is a no clipping period. For us, it's after the 15th of September. So I'm going to want to go in there, around the 1st of September and clip that, and that'll be the last time I clip it for the year. Okay, it needs a resting period to be able to help it get through wintertime. Okay, so alfalfa is a great food plot, and it's something that I highly recommend. I've raised it before. I've seen it raised a lot around here, and it's something different, guys. All our farms that join us, there might be 5 or 6 clover plots on every on the farms that join us. Well, alfalfa is something that you don't see all the time. Okay, alfalfa is kind of like a food plot that not a lot of people know about, because they might know about it, but they don't do it because the management level's high. And that's one thing that I really like with these food plots, is giving that deer something that he doesn't have all the way around him. If you plant a clover plot and you've got 5 clover plots on the surrounding farms around you, what makes your clover plot different than, his? But if you plant an alfalfa plot out here, you've got something different than all these other guys have got. Your management level is higher? Absolutely. No question about it. Their management level on clover is pretty easy, 1 or 2 out of 10. This is a 9 or a 10. This is extremely difficult. You have to keep it sprayed for bugs and weeds. You have to keep it clipped. And there's a lot of fine details that go along with alfalfa. But I think for a lot of you guys, especially you guys that are commenting in about soybean pressure and things like that you're seeing, this is a very graze tolerant food plot, okay? Once it's established, in my opinion, they are not going to eat this stuff down. So they're going to try, but alfalfa is just too resistant, and they can't. My plot was about 1.5 acres, 1.25 acres, I think. And I never had any issue with them grazing it off. They were out there every day, 15 to 20, 25 out there every single day from early spring all the way through the fall. It is a highly preferred food source, and it's something that you should give your consideration to. The seed for alfalfa is extremely expensive. So it's going to come in a big bag. I think it's a 50-pound bag last time I checked. And it is going to shock you. You're going to get some sticker shock when you see how much that bag of seed is. It is expensive, but it's a perennial as well, okay? So this is something that's going to last you, that's going to build your deer herd for 3 or 4 years. I really like that protein level being through the roof for the whitetails for as long as what it lasts around here. For us, like I said, we're only going through maybe a 2-month spell where alfalfa is not really feeding the whitetails. You guys down south, I don't have any experience for this down south, but I would suspect that your alfalfa would last even longer than ours would. And so you might be feeding the deer with your alfalfa for 11 months out of the year. I don't know, but that makes sense to me that, you know, you're having less cold weather than what we get. So this could very well be a plot that could basically feed your whitetails all year for you. So it's something that you should give some consideration to. It's a really good plot. I really liked it when I raised it. It's super management intensive. I'm going to have, my next video is going to be the how-to. This was just going to be way too long to do one video. And I'm going to go through every detail on exactly how to plant it, as far as how to work your ground, how to spray your ground, liming your fertilizer, all that stuff. And I'm going to show you exactly how to plant alfalfa so that you can have a killer plot on your farm a year and a half from now, okay? So thanks, guys. Smash that like and subscribe button. Appreciate all your comments.